Take one, take two. Okay, here we go. So again, we're going to draw an animal, and I'm going to place a scan or a picture into my Illustrator document. To do that, I use the File, Place command. File, Place. By using File, Place, I can then go to my desktop, find my drawing that I've downloaded or saved, and then place it into my document. Now it's going to come in with like a little box right here. Why is it like this? It goes on the menu like this. Now the older version of Illustrator won't do this. This is a newer version. What it's asking you to do is to draw how big you want it to be. If you just click with the mouse, it's going to put it there. So if I just don't draw or don't do anything and I just hit the mouse, it'll place it there. But if I do it again, if I use the place command again, I choose my crab, I can actually draw how big I want it to be on the screen too. So either way, you can either just click and it's going to put it whatever size it is, or you can draw what size you want it to be on the screen. You can move it around. There we go. Which one you want to draw? I'm going to draw the kelp one, or do you want the, what's the other one? The cancer crab. Ooh, I don't like this name, cancer crab, so I'm going to draw kelp crab. Everybody have a drawing. Again, it's linked. Remember that. It's linked. Illustrator file and the JPEG need to be friends forever. First thing we're going to do is we're going to lock the drawing. And what I mean by that is, in the layer window, again, we're going to talk a lot about layers in this class. So again, if you go under Window, I want you to bring up the Layers window. If you don't see Layers, Window, Layers. You can move windows around. You should get used to moving windows around. If it's all the way down here and it's jammed down here, if it's jammed down there, easiest way to move it is to put your cursor over top of the name. I want to move the layer. So I click on the name Layers and drag it out. Click on the word Layers and drag it out. Once I've dragged, what's the plural tense of dragged? Dragged? It's dragged. Once I've dragged it out, I'm going to lock it so I don't move it. Because once you start drawing something, you don't want to move the scan, right? You want to keep it. So if you look at in the Layers window, next to the eyeball is used to show and hide. Show and hide. Show and hide. But I can also lock. So right next to the eyeball, you'll notice there's like a little lock right there. By doing that, then I can't move. If I put my cursor over top of my crab, I get a pencil with a no sign next to it. A pencil with a no sign. The reason why I got the pencil with the no sign is saying, no, you can't alter this because it's locked. There's a lock right here. It's locked. So in order to draw over top of this crab, I need to make a new layer. How we make new layers inside of Illustrator is in this window here, just like in Photoshop. It's the same icon. There's like a little, looks like a page peel right here. See it right here? It's like a page peel next to a trash can. Of course, trash can be used to remove a layer. This one, and then there's a sub-layer, but we're not doing sub-layers yet. See this one right here? Click on that. First thing you're going to notice when you click on that, it's going to make a new layer up here. It's going to go layer 2. Again, I have layer 1 and layer 2 now. Notice there's like a little blue and red line next to it right there. What is that blue and red line indicating? Those are indicating when you're drawing an object, what color is the selection of that object. The reason why is when you have multiple objects, let's say I'm doing an illustration that has a whole bunch of different objects. How do I know which objects is in which layer? Is by indicating by the color. The things that are in layer 1, when you select them, will be blue. See the little blue there? If I click on an object and it's red around the outside, it's in layer 2. We could also name the layers too. Like if I want to name this layer 1 instead of it being all layer 1, I can double click on the layer, or right there on the name, and it should turn blue and you can change the name. This was scan, right? This is my scan crab. Scan crab. Layer 2, I'm going to make, let's make the legs first. So I'm going to call them legs. So I'm going to have multiple layers and I'm going to start naming them. So maybe I'll put all the legs in one layer and then the shell in another layer. Right? Think of organization. Naming things will help you organize your layers also. And then maybe I'll have the right legs in one sub-layer and the left legs in another sub-layer. Right? You can organize it like that too. Okay, did you see how to name it? You can also double click on it and it'll open in a window like this. We'll talk about this in a little bit, but you can change the selection color also. I'm going to zoom in again. In order to zoom in when you're using this program is Command plus. If you hold the space bar down, you can move your cursor around. Okay. You ready? Here we go. The most difficult tool in this whole program is the pen tool. Now, if you master the pen tool, you'll be a master of all the programs. The pen tool is in Photoshop, the pen tool is in Illustrator, the pen tool is in InDesign, the pen tool is in Maya, even a 3D program, Maya, they have a pen tool. All programs have a pen tool. AutoCAD has a pen tool. All of them have a pen tool. And the pen tool always works the same no matter what program you're using. And it comes from the foundation. And when I started using Illustrator 88, it had a pen tool. Basically what is Illustrator is the pen tool. And what is the pen tool? It's a way of drawing dots with vectors. Okay? So think about it right now. When I want to draw something, I'm not going to use last class. We were using simple primitive shapes for our rocket, right? Now I don't have simple primitive shapes. These shapes are complex. Now I can use the pencil tool like we used last time, but that's not very precise. That's not very precise. So today we're going to use the pen tool. Here we go. So let's say I want to draw this crab-shaped leg right here. I want to draw the crab-shaped leg. So right now I have a scan that looks like this. What I can do is I'm going to use what's called the pen tool. How the pen tool works is you click once and let your finger up. It makes a corner point. A corner point is where you want to make a straight line from one spot to the other. Straight line. Corner point, another corner point, boom. Click once, let your finger up. If you want to make an arc is a curved line. I click and hold the mouse down and drag towards the way I want the arc to go. So if I drag like this way, after I click and hold the mouse down, drag this way, it'll make an arm that goes like this, a curve. So if I click down here, I'm going to click down here and drag to the left, or right, I'm sorry, this is right, this way, right. And what that'll do is it'll make an arc this way. If I click here and I'm going to drag up like this, it's going to make an arc that goes this way. And then I can click here and drag this way and make an arc go that way. It takes a little while to practice that. But once you've mastered that, you've actually mastered the application. If you can master what we do right now, you're going to be, that you can make any shape you want. So here, watch how I do it and then try. Takes a little practice. The pen tool is this one right here. It's the third one down on the right side. If you notice and hold the mouse down, you'll notice there's four options. You got pen tool, add anchor point, delete anchor point, and anchor point tool, which changes it from a, remember when we were changing it in the petal for the flower that went around, right? Remember that? We used this one, change it. Change it from an anchor point to a corner point, from a corner point to an anchor point. Anchor point's one that makes round arcs. The corner point is a straight line. So I'm just going to use the pen tool, and here we go. I'm going to make, let's say, this shape first. Again, think about where you want points. I'm going to zoom in even closer. I'm going to make it kind of big. I know it's blocky because it's pixels, but here we go. If I click with my mouse once and let my finger up, that's fine. I'm going to go, oh, look how the line is going along here. See how my line follows it? If I click and hold the mouse down, it'll start giving me a curve. Notice how I'm dragging the opposite direction of where I want the curve to go. And then I'm going to go all the way down here, and I'm going to click and drag. Oh, look how the curve is going along around there. And then I'm going to click right here. Maybe you don't need to drag too much on that one. And then maybe drag up here. And then always go back to the very first spot to complete your curve. So you notice I've made a shape by putting dots down and dragging with my cursor. Again, let's try another shape. If I want, let's say, this crab chicken, you don't have to follow your scan exactly the way it is. Again, I click with my mouse and let my finger up, but then if I want to make a curve, watch how I make a curve that goes along, and try and use the minimum amount of dots you can when you're using this tool. The more dots, the more complex it becomes. If I click and hold my mouse down, watch how it curves right there. See a nice soft curve right there for that claw right there. Look at that. Wow. And then come all the way down here and curve a little bit that way. Curve a little bit this way. Curve a little bit that way. And then I'm going to kind of make my little claw here by making it curve this way. This way. Always go back to the beginning. There we go. So I don't know what shapes you're drawing. I'm drawing a crab leg. It doesn't matter what shape you're drawing. The key is that you click and hold the mouse down and drag will give you an arc. If you can master that, you can draw any. So we can get a feel of how to use this tool. How about this? Without drawing a circle with the circle tool, let's make a circle with the pen tool. That'll be a good practice for you. Watch how I do it and then try. So let's make a circle without using the circle tool but using the pen tool. Watch how I would do that. Again, I would click and drag. Notice how it makes these things. They're called directional arms. Directional arms. By dragging a little bit to the side, I've already started making an arc. This is not the line. This is not the line that I'm drawing. This is a directional arm that's telling the arc how to draw. If I come over here, I can drag straight down. Look at this. See how it's drawing a circle? Okay. And then if I come over here, I can draw, kind of line it up with the other one, draw a circle this way. And then maybe draw a circle this way. And always go back to the very beginning. See if you can draw a circle like that. Try that. I'll delete again. Click and hold the mouse down. It draws these things called directional arms. If I want to make a circle, I need 4 points, right? One here, one down here at the bottom, one over here, and then one here at the top. Click and drag to finish it. See if you can do that. Just practice making a circle to get a feel of how they work. If you make a mistake, here's another problem. If I click and drag, and then I click a dot, and then I click a dot and say, oh, I didn't want to do this dot. It's a straight line right here. If you delete a point, let's say you hit the delete key, and it gets rid of a point, what you need to do is click directly on the previous one, the last one you did, and then start again. So if you hit delete, click on the last dot and start again. Here I go again. Click on draw a circle, drawing a circle. Oh, I forgot to click and drag and I didn't want that point. Hit delete on the keyboard, go back to the last point that you started, click on that and then start drawing again. So if you delete a dot, start on the last one and start again. Look at that circle. Isn't that beautiful? See if you can make a circle. To work the way that they want them to work. So a lot of times I see students just put dots down. So they'll just click, click, click. You know, you don't have to make an arc if you don't want to. Click, 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 click. There. The downfall of doing that, though, of course, is your object is kind of rough. It's not very smooth, right? Because you got corner point, corner point, corner point, corner point, corner point, corner point, corner point. You know, so the advantage of getting used to and using the arcs the proper way, anchor points the proper way, is that you end up making smoother and, I don't know, better objects, if that's a word. Better objects. So if I was going to do this leg here, I would probably put an arc much better there. Maybe an arc down here. Maybe an arc here. There. Much better, smoother object than, and then I'm going to try another leg. Again, try practicing just making simple arcs. Look at that. Arc. And it doesn't always have to follow your drawing. Remember, you're making your own version of whatever you're looking at. You do not have to follow whatever photograph you're using or drawing you're using. This is your world. You paint it as you see it, right? Isn't that our Bob Ross philosophy? Right? Remember our Bob Ross philosophy?
I don't know how to do a circle. You gotta go.
Okay, I'll help you. Command Shift D. Command Shift D. It'll stop it. If you're really struggling with the pen tool, you can always go back to the pencil tool. Remember the pencil tool? You might want to turn the accuracy down a little bit. So it's, remember last class we put it up to accuracy, put a lot of stuff. But again, with the pencil tool, you can just go and draw your objects that way too. There's one. See? So much easier. Pencil tool. Look at this. Pencil tool. Here we go. Pencil tool. Ah, look at that. Why am I struggling with the dumb pen tool? You know? Look at this. Ah, look at that. So much easier. Ah, no pain and suffering there. Look at that. There we go. Look at that. Pencil tool. Look at that. Look at that. Ah. It's all wonderful and fabulous to use the pencil tool, but it's not as accurate. So if you're really struggling with the pen tool, go to the pencil tool. Forget about the pen tool for now. We'll go back to it some other day. Remember the pencil tool we used last class, right? So you can do that too. You just use the pencil tool. Okay. Did you get the idea of putting dots down and dragging? Yeah, those are, you should use simpler shape. It's okay, get your pencil. Practice your pen. Again, if you're really struggling with the pen tool, I know it's hard. Use the pencil tool. The pencil tool is a simple, easy way. It's not as accurate though. And I can see right away that these objects right here I drew with the pen tool are much, much better than these ones over here. They're not as accurate. So, I mean, you gotta balance here. Fabulous. Fabulous. So make some objects so we can start coloring them. Make some objects. Any objects is fine. Make some objects. Always try and go back to the beginning. See, I'm even cheating. I'm using the pencil tool. Look at me. Cheater, cheater, cheating, cheating. Look at that. Cheating, cheating, cheating. Okay, so again, if you look, remember how you can select things. You can click on them and deselect. Click on them, deselect. Click on them, deselect. Or you can draw a box around all of them and select them all. That's one way of doing it. Or since I only have objects here, but I don't have the scan crab is locked right there, I can hit Command A on the keyboard to select all the objects too. So there's a variety of ways we can select. I want to select all the objects. Select all the objects, and I'm going to color them. In order to color them, I can use the square here, or I can use the color window under color, if you remember that. Oh, there's different kinds of colors. Somebody's adjusted this. We'll blame it on Gene. There we go. This one, this color. I don't know, it looks like a palette here. Somehow color your objects. Again, you got your fill and your stroke. Your fill and your stroke. So if I double click here, it'll give me a color option also. So again, you can double click there, or you can click on the color. There's a variety of ways to get color. So I'm going to choose a color. Once I have a color, I'm going to think about how to organize my objects. If I look on the layers window right now, I have one layer that's called legs. If I twirl the triangle down for legs, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of objects underneath there. There's a whole bunch of objects underneath there. What if I want to take all these objects? There's a couple ways of grouping these together. You could either group them together by going under Object Group. By using Object Group, it'll put them all together in what's called a group layer. See that right there? That's kind of a sublayer right there. Again, I'll do that again. I have a whole bunch of objects. They're all underneath legs right now. If you twirl again, if I twirl my triangle down, you'll see I have legs. If I select them, they're all selected right now. If I go underneath Object Group, watch what happens in the layer window. It kind of puts them into something called a group. And since they're in a group right there, I can change the name. And this is what side? Left legs, right? Left legs. Left legs. Okay. Now, of course, I want to flip them over to make the other side. Because I'm lazy and I want to have to draw. Now, it'll probably be better to draw the legs on the other side so they're a little bit different than the ones. But we're running out of time. My client needs this in 10 minutes. What am I going to do? My client needs this in 10 minutes. I'm going to duplicate and flip them around. Okay. One way to do that would be under Object. Transform, reflect, and which way do I want to reflect it? I want to reflect it vertical. You can see the little drawing that it is right there, and I want to copy it. Copy it. Now, it copied it right on top of the other one, so then I have to move it over to the location of where we want it to be, kind of over here. And then we want to call it right legs, right? And so instead of left legs, I'm going to change the name of the layer to right legs. Left legs, right legs. Again, how did I duplicate that? Again, I had the object selected. They're all grouped together into a sublayer. And then I went under Object, Transform, Reflect. In the reflect window, you can use vertical or horizontal, and you can use the copy command right here, copy command. And by doing that, it'll make a duplicate copy, and then you might need to move them. Whoosh! Don't want to do that. And then you might want to move them over there. That's how I did that very quickly. And notice it made it a whole nother sub-layer, and I was able to change it to right legs and left legs. Then my last thing I want to do is draw my shell right here, and then I'm going to, after I'm done drawing my shell, before I draw my shell though, I'm going to make a new layer. Notice how I have a legs layer right there. See, legs layer? If I want to make a new layer, I'm going to twirl this up, and I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to call it shell. Oosh, not Shrek. Shell. And then I'm going to draw my shell with my pen tool. I mean, the pen tool would be much easier to draw this than I would with the pencil tool. Pencil tool is not going to be very accurate. The pen tool, get used to it. Clicking, 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 clicking. Notice how it's green when while I'm drawing with the pen tool here. Why is it green? Can anybody tell me why it's green? Where is the green color coming from when I'm drawing this? From the layer. Notice in the layer window there. Oh, and then you're like, I'm drawing it, now I can't see it. It just covered up where I was drawing. How am I going to draw the other side when it covered it up? Well, you can always go to the no fill option right here. See the none? There's a none option right there. Boom, it goes away. That's okay. We can color it again when we come back. You turn off the fill when you're drawing, so it's not covering when you're drawing. Always go back to the beginning. There we go. Whoosh. There's my shell. Just like when you were a kid, right? You were doing connect the dots when you were in elementary school, right? You had a coloring book and it had little dots on it and you drew a line between the dots. Do you remember doing that? It's the same thing. Same thing. Put your color back in there. Oh, we got to make little eyes. We got to put some eyes on them. Maybe a little ellipse. Make a circle there. We could cheat. Make a little circle there. There we go. Circle eyes. Maybe make them all black. There we go. Watch how I do that and then you can try. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a rectangle that has no stroke to it. No stroke. Just a rectangle with no stroke. No stroke. In addition, you want your pattern to be kind of the size you want it to be first. So if I wanted a bunch of little dots inside here, you can actually draw it inside here and then save it. Okay, so I could draw my rectangle. I'm going to hold the shift key down again. I'm using the rectangle tool. I'm using the same fill color. I'm going to hold down the shift key. Maybe out here a little bit. It doesn't have to be inside there. That way we can see it a little easier. I'm just going to draw a little rectangle. Or triangle. No, rectangle. That's it. No, square. What am I trying to say? Is it square? Square. Again, a square with no fill and no dots. And I'm going to zoom in maybe a little bit bigger. I should have made it a little bit bigger. There we go. Okay, I drew a square. Next, I'm going to go and put some dots inside that square. How I'm going to put dots in. I'm just going to use the ellipse tool. And I'm going to change the color. Oh, don't change the color while that's selected, because it'll change that selected color. I'm going to deselect that first by using Command-Shift-A, deselect. So I'm going to deselect first. Then I'm going to change the color, whatever color I want my dots to be. And they can be different colors. And I'm going to draw a dot kind of randomly on here. Draw a bigger dot, maybe a smaller dot, maybe a bigger dot, not too many. There we go, something like that. So you see the little pattern that I've made here. I made a square with some dots in it. Maybe change the color of the dots a little bit so they're not all the same color. There we go. Want them to be a little bit different maybe. Oof, no. But this one a little bit redder. Okay, there we go. Maybe a little darker. Okay, so once I have kind of a pattern that you see here, what you can do is you can select it all. You select all the shapes, the rectangle or the square and the circles that you have here, and you're going to do what's called define pattern. How you define pattern is under edit. Oh, actually, they have a pop-up window now. They've changed it. Used to be under edit, but now they have a pop-up window for it. It's under window pattern options. Window pattern options. In the older versions of Illustrator, it's under edit pattern, but now they got something called pattern options. And how do I make a pattern? Why am I doing this? Why is it doing this? Edit. Sure, there's no define pattern in here. It used to be under edit. Pattern options. Make pattern. I had to make it harder. I had to make it harder. I'm sorry. They had to make it harder. I think you probably right click on there and do the same thing, right? Right click? No? Still don't have it there. Okay. Again, I had to bring up a pop-up window called Pattern Options. Pattern Options. Again, I had all my objects selected right here. A square with a bunch of little dots on top of it. If I go to the upper right corner of the Pattern Options pop-up window, under the Pattern Options pop-up window, in the upper right corner here, you'll notice it says Make Pattern. Make Pattern. A new pattern has been added to the swatches panel. Any change made while in pattern editing mode will be applied to swatch upon exit. What the hell does that mean? Well, what that means is now it's got a pattern editing option. Whoosh, they made it so much more complicated than it used to be. Just hit OK. How about that? Oh, it's in pattern edit mode. Whoosh, they made it more complicated. So I guess there's a pattern editing mode now that you can go and adjust it. We're going to have to go and, for right now, I'm not going to go over all these settings here. It's going to take a while to get used to how to do all this. I'm just going to say done. How about that? Done. When I hit done, you'll notice the pattern is over here in the swatches pop-up window. There's a window called swatches. If you don't see swatches, you can go under Windows swatches. We'll have to do this again next class. Swatches, Windows swatches. You'll see the pattern right here. I can take that pattern then. I can grab an object, let's say my shell. See my shell right here? I can take that and select the pattern right here in the new pattern, and boom, my crab now has a pattern on top of it. So that's one way that you can add a texture to your object, is by making a small object and making it into a pattern. The pattern should show up in the swatches window. Then you can apply that pattern to any object you want. I have my crab now. He's all good. You can delete the pattern when you're done. And save your crab so we can learn how to put it in a landscape. So make some kind of object and save it. Try making a pattern if you can.